Good afternoon, or I should say good evening, and welcome to another edition of Talking To. I am your host, Rufus Bill, and this evening begins a new season, the fifth season of Talking To. We're so glad that you are here with us today on this very, very special day. It is Sunday, November 5th, 2023, and we have a great show planned for you today. Going to do a lot of great things, talk about a lot of good things, some things that everyone is talking about. You have not heard us talk about that. And when I say us, I am speaking of the host, none other than Joanne Tolson Fuller. Good evening, Joanne. How are you?
Good evening. It's so good to be back.
It is so good to
said
be
the fifth
back.
season. I can't believe it.
I know, isn't that something?
Oh my goodness.
It is so crazy. Also, we'd like to welcome back Justin Hurd. Justin, what's going on, man?
What's going on? I feel like Joanne. I'm so excited and happy to be back. And the 5 man, that's crazy. I don't even know where that time. Wow.
Right.
I'm telling you.
But I missed you guys. I missed the show. I missed the conversations, man.
Definitely.
It's just it's like therapy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like therapy for me. So I need it.
Yes.
So,
I get to stand on my soapbox for a moment.
Yeah.
For 60 plus minutes. For 12 weeks.
Right. Exactly.
That's wonderful. Well, I think if you say you need therapy, Justin, we are excited here that we have a new addition to the Talking To family. So tell us, Justin.
Yes.
What's going on?
I have a brand new. I'm looking for my phone. I left it upstairs. I'm sure I was going to show a picture. But my daughter, Liberty J. Hearn, was born October 16th, around 11:53 a.m. Such a beautiful blessing, man. You know, I've heard so much about being a girl dad and how it's different, and I really never thought about it. And then but once that baby got here, man, oh man, it's totally different than having sons, and I love it. My wife, she had a C-section, but everything went well. She's recovering. Yeah, you can show it. She's recovering very well, and everything. So, new addition to the family, getting adjusted. Got 3 kids. There we go. There we go. Look at me and my baby.
Look at her.
She got a head full of hair, man.
Yes.
Yep. So wife is doing well, man. God is good. That's all I can say. God is good. Yeah.
Well, I tell you one thing, Joanne. When I saw his wife, I guess that was a picture you all made in the hospital room.
Yeah, man. That was literally that was the day after. Literally,
I said she looks wonderful.
Yeah, man.
I said that those are the 2023 mothers. I said those mothers from the 90s, hair be standing on top of their head, looking crazy.
Yeah, man.
Talking about take the baby. Get alone taking pictures. Y'all were just posed off. I said, I think they're in the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that picture was the hospital chair. That was my bed that she was sitting in. That was my bed.
So you're right there with her, right there next to her.
Right there, yeah. I've been enjoying it.
So were you off that morning or were you at work?
I was off. So because it was a C-section, they're scheduled. Mm-hmm. So it just so worked out that my first day off of work. So what I did was, because the city of Detroit now gives employees, male or female, 6 weeks of bonding time with the child. So whether you are adopting, whether you just have a baby, whether you just get guardianship, whatever, but they give it to the males as well as the females. So I took my vacation first, which my furlough. So the first day of my furlough was the 16th. That's the day when my daughter was born. My furlough lasted until about the 30th. And then now my 6 weeks has kicked in starting the 31st. So now I don't have to go back to work until like December 11th. So, it's been hot.
Fantastic.
I don't think I'm gonna last that whole time, though.
That whole time. Listen, at least another week.
At least another week. That's what I'm hoping for. maybe like around like a month. You know, I need to get back to work. I can't.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure she good. Once she can handle it, then it's time for daddy to go back to work. I can't.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
How cool. Well, congratulations.
I just think it's awesome that you want to take off. And I think it's awesome that we're now moving into the 21st century where they realize that both parents need to bond and both parents need to be there for each other. And so, especially, you know, because she's the one that had the baby.
Right.
And so, you know, sometimes there are times when the mother needs to rest a little more, sleep a little more, just that healing time. So I think that is awesome.
You know, and it's so many dynamics that I don't think they think about. Like, you know, whether she had a natural birth or a C-section, well, kids still have to go to school. So if I have to go to work and I'm not afforded type of leave, then how are my kids going to get to school without a support system? Right. Now my kids are truancy, you know what I mean? So I think that, you know, I don't know what struck for the city of Detroit to do this. It went live this year. This is the first year they've done it.
Really?
But this is the first year they've done it, but it's amazing. And like I said, it's not only, even if you adopt a child or even if you have to take custody of a child, they just call it bonding time. And as long as it meets the requirements, and it was an easy process. I sent the email. I told them what day I wanted to start it. And they only asked for like verification of birth once the baby came. Easy process and boom, you know. So I think it's 6 weeks paid. It's not 60%, 50%, it's 100%.
Wow.
So, you know, I get to be at home with my family and I don't have to, so it's amazing. It's amazing benefit for real.
And a lot of states are starting to do that, but you know, United States is behind the times because a lot of other countries actually give their fathers 6 months, some of them a year. So it just so we're kind of behind, but it's just nice to know that we're moving forward.
For sure.
To that too.
For sure.
Yeah, it's about family.
It's about
family. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, it is. It's about families. And I say that was some very unique negotiations on behalf of the police union to put that into the contract or whoever negotiated that. And especially talking about negotiations, one of the perks for UAW, for Chrysler, is that they had a high level of truancy and people not coming to work. So in this latest contract, they have extended to the union workers the lease program that only the upper management had, and which will allow them no credit check, no money down to get a new car, and they take it automatically out of their paycheck before taxes.
Wow. So the car payment comes out of their paycheck before taxes.
It comes out of before taxes.
That's not a bad benefit.
Now, that's not a bad deal at all.
No, because they're still making money.
Not at all.
Now you're going to ensure that more people drive the cars that they make,
that you make, and you're coming to work.
Yeah. So have those been finalized yet?
Well, they're off the picket line, so I think they're just waiting for the entire body to vote.
Okay, because it's been
favorable.
I've been so confused because you got all like Canada, you got all these different unions that have ratified to make. So it'd be kind of throwing me up like, wait, which one is
what's going on?
It's a lot, yeah.
Exactly. But I thought it was very strategic on how the union president approached the strike, because the very last division was the Ram truck. And once that they hit the Ram truck, it was pretty much going to be a shutdown for Chrysler at least. And so as the executive saw the pendulum swinging, they said, "Uh-oh, let's get these people off the streets back into work." And which I don't know, all the billions of dollars that they lost in just that little amount of time, and not spread the wealth with the people who have moved the world on wheels, literally.
Right, literally.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's amazing to me.
That's right.
It's big corporations,
but a lot of that I think is greed, though, too. From at the top, the top, it's greed. You live in this lavish lifestyle, but who's helping you to live this lavish lifestyle? So just give them something. Give them.
Give them. Yeah.
You know, you
equal. And I didn't understand the tier thing. That to me, you know, you working next to somebody that's making $15, $20 less than you, and y'all doing the same job.
Same job.
Just because they're considered.
Right. It all depends on when they got hired or something.
Right. And that's, you know, that's crazy.
Temporary.
Or temporary
that's
employees,
crazy.
Or you know, that's to me,
or not hired in yet. All of that, we doing the same job. You know, I think I'm definitely for due process, right? So, but that should be like a year, 6 months, 90 days. Pick it, and then you can get all the full benefits and stuff like that. Like I agree with that, because you don't want to just bring some. Because I'm gonna tell you though, half of the people, and I'm just being honest, and I ain't, you know, I'm telling the truth for shame of the devil. This ain't no shame at nobody. But half the people that I know that work at Chrysler, like for real, because of how they program worked, they go get a job, work for some other days, or however many days is. Once they get their leave, they go off work sick. And now they going to school, they doing this, they doing that, and they ain't been to work in 6-9 months, and they still getting paid. I was like, I don't know what type of setup they had will benefit with that, but they done really, I know people firsthand who has really screwed them over, who still holding a job, still holding the pay, still getting paid. Now, I don't know if it's 100%, but still getting paid something and are doing other things, going to school. And it's like, okay, you work in the system, make it work for you, but you screwing the business over. But you know, but when you really think about if Chrysler and GM and Ford, I think Chrysler a few years ago, they gave all their full-time salary employees, if they worked over a certain amount of hours, they gave them $10,000 a piece.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago, maybe 2018, 16, somewhere in there.
Before COVID.
If they gave these people $10,000 a piece, imagine how much money they had to make.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but look at those. What were they called? Dividend checks.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Remember they used to give those. What was it? Every year? Every 2 years or something like that?
It was every year. I know it was at least once a year.
Because I remember they used to announce it on the news, and they said the employees would get mad because half of them didn't want their wives to know, their spouse to know that they were getting these dividend checks. Exactly. But they were getting them, and some of them were 20,000, 15,000. You know, 7 depends on how long you were with the company. But if they can do that, you know the money they're making, and then when you realize and understand, especially the jobs that they shipped overseas, the pennies that it costs to manufacture some of these things. But then by the time the car gets they're selling the car to the public, you know, it's $50,000-$60,000 car.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is something off subject, but so I don't know if you guys saw this, but Henry Ford acquired St. John Hospital and all their properties inside the Metro Detroit area. And so, you know, Henry Ford did that essentially because of what Spectrum and Beaumont did. Spectrum and Beaumont merged prior, and that made them the largest network of hospitals. So Henry Ford says, okay, we got to make a power move. They buy St. John. So this is going to be interesting because I think by the end of the year, all of St. John employees will be transferred over to Henry Ford employees. So it's just a matter, and you think about call centers and stuff like that. I have family members that work for call centers that are St. John call centers that don't know what's going to happen once Henry Ford, you know, fully takes over and the merges if it's approved. A lot of people going to be displaced. So you just never know. Like on the east side, you got Bond Secure Hospital and you got St. John Hospital less than 2 miles away from each other. So it's just like that's going to be a different dynamic of of employees. And the benefit is though, most of St. John employees are contracted. So like the people, the transporters, everybody who's St. John employees is all third party hires. Really? Henry Ford on the other hand are hired by Henry Ford. That's the kind of the benefit. So they're transporters, they're security guards. They don't work for J&J. They're not contract. They work for Henry Ford. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic to see what happens, you know, with these people who, you know, held these hospital jobs. You know, do they get better benefit? Like, I just think that's going to be something to watch and monitor. And I hope that Henry Ford does the right thing and retain these people and find them, working jobs and stuff.
And they're calling it a merger,
right?
A merger because there's no money being exchanged. So they're not buying Ascension St. John. They're merging. So and part of that is probably because they're both Catholic hospitals too.
Well, no,
that's right.
Yeah, they're both Catholic hospitals, but they're calling it. They said that there's no money being exchanged, but it is a merger.
So I got an inside school. So from my understanding, Henry Ford is not a Catholic hospital. It is? Okay, I've never seen. Okay, that's news to me. But basically, what I got from a manager, that upper level manager in St. John Hospital, was that COVID was a major loss. That is St. John.
Oh, yeah.
So St. John Hospital in Detroit is like their biggest thing in Michigan. So to give up St. John, Detroit, now you could give up any of the other ones, but to give up that says that this person who's an executive that they are going to pull out of Michigan, and because they're big in Texas, they have a lot of like the headquarters of St. John is in Texas, stuff like this. They're going to pull that and probably reinvest in other ways. Maybe do.
But Ascension, who actually owns St. John now, Ascension is all over the place.
Right.
Because I have friends that work for Ascension in Wisconsin. I have friends that work for Ascension in Illinois, in Texas, and so Ascension actually is not St. John, because St. John is basically
right. I'm just saying St. John, but I mean, right.
That Ascension is a big,
it's a big
when
company.
they took over, it's a big corporation.
Right. So he's saying that they're basically pulling out of Detroit because that would be their largest moneymaker in Michigan. It would be St. John. They'd be the largest hospital. It would be probably whatever. So he was like them getting rid of that one, letting that, because they're still keeping some of the smaller ones that are around, but the larger ones, the ones that are in Detroit, the ones that are most close to Detroit, they're getting rid of those. They're merging them. They pretty much gave them up. So that suggests that they're going to be kind of shifting gears. And it just makes me wonder, like in my neighborhood along down Greater Mac and Mac Avenue, there's like 20 freaking urgent care facilities just popped up out of nowhere.
I'm telling you.
Really?
And it's like, why do we need, it's like literally between Ross and Vernier, it's probably like 20 urgent, maybe 10 to 15 urgent care.
And now you can even say casual, because over here,
they're just popping up.
That's so true.
And they're some of them are hospital brands, and some of them are different brands.
Right.
But like Beaumont, Henry, like the one they just put one right here. It's Henry Ford, brand new, nice facility. And it's like, so everybody's shifting to these smaller urgent care, type of thing. So it's like, like I don't know what's up with that, but it's just they popping up everywhere.
Well, I must agree. I have seen quite a few more urgent cares than normal. Didn't know it, like you all said, didn't really know what was going on, and thinking, are we that sick that they
right?
But part of that is too is that they don't want people coming to the emergency room anymore for everything. And now with these emergency rooms being backed up, like I know 2 people right now who went to emergency room. They were literally laying in the hallway.
I've heard that.
48
I've
hours.
seen that. I've seen that.
And so now they don't want you to come to the emergency room unless you really about to die. And so they're asking people to go to, and that's not funny.
Urgent care.
But they're asking people to go to the urgent care facilities. And
that makes sense. So this is everybody's play to try to get that money, to try to be try to be first,
Well, and sometimes we as people love to, or I should say used to, call off work, say we're sick, and go to the emergency room and get a slip. For return work. So I'm sure that may have a percentage of clearing out those emergency rooms now.
Yeah, well. Nowadays, if you go to the emergency, you might be there for 6 hours. You might as well just went to work.
Go to work. Like, I spent my whole day off here.
I spent my whole day to get this slip. I ain't got no time. You better go. You better go at 4:00 in the morning
and literally
call off at 8, and then you'll be out in time to have a good day. But
to enjoy the day.
Right,
because literally, if you're not literally dying, you're gonna be waiting because they're gonna take the most urgent care of the most urgent patients that need them. They're gonna take those first.
They're gonna take them first.
Don't go in there with a cough, or don't go in there with a
my nose.
Yeah, no, for real.
For real.
When Justin was talking about the people that were working at Chrysler get a job and then they go back out, it brought me back to when I worked at Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and the most popular surgery at the time was a foot surgery. But it was very, it wasn't a serious surgery, but it was some type of work done on their foot. And people were going out, getting this foot, like getting their bunions done. That's what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what is going on? Until I had to get the contract book and to see what they were doing. And, they were allowed so many days to be able to pull, to leave, or go out on sick leave. And that was the least amount, I would say the lowest type of surgery or injury that they could do to get out.
To get out of work.
To say they abuse the system.
100%.
Like people, like the situation with Chrysler and other jobs, I'm sure, abusing the system. One time I was working at Blue Cross, and if you're just joining us, it's Talking To, and we're back for our 5th season. Joanne, Justin, and yours truly. We come on every Sunday, 7:00 p.m. and we're just doing some talking about. We went on strike, and I had never been on strike ever. That was my first job. And so when they told me that when I had to report for strike duty, I came out with my lunch, and it was in like October, and I had a chair, like a outdoor
folding chair,
lawn chair. And in fact, it was the kind that folds out where you can lounge. And so I set up my stuff.
You got
I was sitting down. I think I was drinking an orange juice, and it was our first day on strike, first day on strike duty, and Celine McCoy was the president, and she drove up, and we were in South Lyon. She says, "Rufus, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm reporting for strike." She said, "You can't be out here in the lounge chair drinking orange juice." I said, "What are we supposed to be doing?" You're supposed to be marching around. You see everybody else marching? Yes, I had seen them, but I just thought they didn't have a chair.
Right. Y'all go ahead.
Y'all
go ahead. I'm gonna watch the stuff.
I'm here with you.
Right.
I'm fighting the battle with you.
Somebody got to root y'all on.
Right. I'm the pep rally.
Right.
That is too funny.
That's funny. But you know what I think about is that sadly, that's just the American way.
Yes.
So managers are always going to say, how can I get the most out of people and pay them the less? And workers are always going to say, what is the least I can do to get paid the most? That's just the nature of work.
That's the yin to the yang.
I don't care. Listen, I don't care what job I've held, what position I've held. At some point, no matter how much I love the job, as a worker, you're going to be like, I need to, because it's like, I think from top to bottom, everybody thinks that way. And I think that that's why you have a large, not this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I think that's why you have a large group of millennials, Gen Zs that are trying to work for themselves. That, you know what I mean? And it's just, you know, small business and, you know, everybody trying to be in business, do something. But it's because if we be honest, you know, even that contract, even giving them car lease payments, that corporation make enough to give everybody a car that works there, free transportation. Like, come on, like y'all make billions of dollars a quarter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Right. So it's like it's this robbing Peter to pay Paul, you know, type of mentality, and unfortunately, it's just a, you know, that's just the system. Like,
but I think part of it now too, because the companies have no loyalty to the employees,
none
anymore. They used to. You know, back in the day, my parents, you know, they used to. So the employees had some loyalty for the company. Because they looked after them. They made, you know, they gave them their raises. They looked after. But now, you know, I call it with the young people now. I call them they're chasing the dollar. And at first, I didn't understand it.
Right.
Because I grew up in that era of, you know, you get a job, you do your work, that's how I was taught. That's how my parents taught me also. You be the best that you can be at whatever you're doing. So now with these companies, everybody's at will companies now.
Right.
Where they can fire you for anything.
Yep.
If they tell you to go, you can go. So that at will thing, then if you're not gonna be loyal to me and you see the mentality growing and growing, then why should I be loyal to you?
Exactly.
So why should I? If I see another job and they pay me $5 more an hour,
I'm gone.
Why should I give you that 2 weeks, that month, you know, notice? I'm out. I'm gone.
You're out.
And so at first I didn't understand it, but talking to a lot of the younger, you know, young people, and it's like, you know what, that is so true. It's like they have no loyalty for their employees. So why should we have all this loyalty when they could care less? They call me and just the title, at will employee.
Right.
To me is lets you know.
Right. Come and go.
Hey, and I can get this. If you come in here and I don't like you, then I can say bye
and that's it.
And not worry about you suing me and all. That's why I think they're trying to get rid of all the unions and stuff too. But
I'm more than sure. But you know, this go round, this union president was able to somewhat restore the prestige to the union.
Yeah,
you know,
I kind of liked him at first. I was like, let's see where and then the more I listened to him, I'm like,
right.
Okay, he's talking some good stuff. He's going back. He went back to some of the old school stuff. He really did. He was like,
Yeah, his outfits was throwing me for a loop though. Like his first day, he was like army fatigue or something like that. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What you mean army fatigue? Announcing a strike. Like, what's going on?
I'm fighting for my people.
Right. I heard on one of the interviews that the management told him, he said, well, you're fighting so hard for your people. Why don't you give up your paycheck and get $500 a week? And I just loved how he kept right on talking. Like, I said, I know that's right. Somebody has to get paid.
Somebody got to get paid, right?
So, in other news, and this has been a ongoing story, and it amazes me about the war that's going on between Gaza and Israel. Since I was a child, Justin, and we would have something in Sabbath school called the mission story. And in the mission story, they would talk about faraway places that sometimes Christians would go to go and help in remote villages, bring water, or just various things to improve the quality of life. But in all those mission stories, not everyone, they would talk about the fight in Israel. And it has gone on since biblical times, and before, you know, in our show prep, Joanne and I we were talking about the connection of the two. Joanne, share that.
Well, that connection is Ishmael and Jacob. Ishmael and oh my goodness, did I just look? Isaac and Ishmael. And so that they've been fighting since then. So when you read the story and you look at it, how Abraham and Sarah were promised, the seed. Right. And so Sarah, thinking God was taking too long. And what did she do? She offered up her handmaid, told Isaac, go have a child with my handmaid. Now he does what she says. Mm-hmm. And then she gets jealous of the handmaiden and the child. So now she wants to put that to the child and the handmaid, told him, look, y'all got to go. Isaac, Abraham, you need to tell them they got to go. But God still, even when they were in the wilderness and how they were ready to die. She was ready to die with her son in the wilderness. But God said, I still have a blessing for you. Mm-hmm. Get up. Go back. But that contention has been ever since then. They've been fighting. And we talk about, it's like, to bring it up to today, we look at the Hatfields and McCoys. Who really knows what that fight was about? But it went on generations. This same fight has been going on generations. Yeah. And
I did some I did some research because I was on Facebook and I kept hearing, one thing that's very irritating to me, and forgive me, I tell people, I teach people all the time, that the things that you don't like about other people is actually a reflection of yourself. So maybe it's a reflection of me.
Yikes.
But I hate, and I hate is a strong word, but I hate when people say it's the last days. Because newsflash, it's been the last days.
Since the last days.
Since the last days. Okay. I don't know. I've been hearing Jesus is coming back since I've been born, and I'm 30 years old. So it's been 3 decades. He is coming back. I believe that.
He is.
But we've been in the last days. And so, one thing about me, and I think one thing that people love about my ministry, is that I attack things on 3 levels, right? I attack things naturally because we're natural beings. I attack things spiritually because we're spiritual things. And I attack things logically because God has given us a brain to think. So I did that. I attacked this thing 3 ways. And what I found out in my research is that this Israel of today that's fighting today is not the same Israel of the Bible. This Israel that we now see today would have been formed in about 1942. And what happened was you had some people, some Europeans that were in the upper mountains of Russia, and who realized that the people that were in Israel didn't really belong to Israel because they were Philistines. So they conspired with the United Nations to say that we are the real Jews. The United Nations agreed with them and said, you are the real Jews, because they had money, they had backing, they had banks, they had these resources coming from Russia. United Nations agreed with them. They allowed these white folks, these Europeans, to go and to take over and to kick out the Philistines that occupied Israel and claimed to be real Jews. So the same thing, or the same attack that Israel is experiencing, they the ones that did it first to the Philistines. They started it.
And that's true. And that is
so
true.
So it's like I understand the biblical context of the biblical history, but I think the fight of today is something totally different than what it was in necessarily biblical times. But I guess my point is like I guess it doesn't surprise me. And I guess the thing that made me mad was like, oh, last days. It's like, no, we're no more sooner in the last days than we've ever been. Because if you can look at the times and you can say this is the last days, then that will, think about this, that'll make God a liar, because he said that no man knows the day nor the hour. So you're not going to be able to pinpoint an event and say, this is it.
This is it.
And if was, he now has to change it, right?
Is that you could, if you read the Bible, you see where history is winding.
It's keep happening.
I say, right. So you see that, but like I don't say it's the last days. I say that, because you know what, and to some point, and I had this conversation with someone else, is that the last day, these are my last days.
Mm-hmm.
I have fewer days ahead of me than I have behind than are behind me. And
Mm-hmm.
so these are my last days, but
Mm-hmm.
are they Jesus' last day? I don't know.
Right.
I can't say that. So for me, when I say this is the last days for me, these are my last days, but I don't know. And I don't know what that is. Could it be tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be 30 years from now?
True.
Could I live till I'm 90? But
Yeah.
I have fewer years lifespan. I have fewer years ahead of me.
Right.
Than I have behind me. So these are my last days.
I feel like that's in a logical standpoint, not necessarily a spiritual standpoint.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I agree with that. I mean the fact of the matter is human beings have an expiration date. So every day is your last day. Because I don't know if tomorrow is promised until I see tomorrow. So today could be my last day. So yeah, we're in the last days of our lives because we live day by day.
Right.
But to be like, oh, it's just like church folk make stuff so spooky. They got to make stuff so, it's just be so annoying. It's just like, listen, okay.
I was just telling a buddy of mine who is a minister, and he I guess he's on the crusade that these are the last days. And he goes around and he's I don't know who he's telling, but I seem like he's telling nobody but me. And about I'm like, what gives?
Is that hit? What?
I'm like, right. I'm like, I already know this. And I told him, I said, you're gonna give yourself a stroke, so wound up about what you see. I said, because the Bible clearly says what's gonna happen and what we're gonna occur. I said, and as much Bible reading and toting as you do, you should be secure in knowing the ultimate is that we've already won the battle.
Right.
Now, whatever is going on, that's life. We acknowledge it. But I'm not going to sit around here twiddling my thumbs and knitting booties.
It's the last day.
It's it.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand the concept or the process.
That is
it's so sad, especially if you've been in church under some type of teaching that has exposed you to this. You're supposed to be like, okay, God is.
But you know what though? You know who did that in the Bible that I think a lot of people miss this. They somehow miss it. But Job, right? So before Job went through what he went through, Job, he had, I think, 5 kids. And the Bible says that he was so afraid of them sinning or them being in right standing with God that he offered sacrifices daily for each of his kids. He was so consumed about his kids being in good standing right with God that literally drove him. I mean, because think about how could anybody be in a right mind if I'm offering sacrifices daily for each of my kids, sometimes multiple times a day? Like that's no way to live. That's no way to.
Right.
How can God get the glory? How can God get the glory out of your life if you're in that much fear that all I'm gonna do is pray and fast all day, every day? I ain't gonna do nothing but offer. No, that ain't life, whatever. So I think a lot of times we read the Bible, we miss that about Job, and we miss that with that phase that Job was in before God allowed this test and trial to come into his life, was that he was so consumed with his children and being in right standing that, to me, as I read, it made him a lunatic. Literally, it made him a lunatic.
Well, I know one thing for sure: he had to be wealthy to be doing 5 or 6 sacrifices
a day for each.
They catching that log, breaking up logs and sticks, and building altars. Very interesting perspective.
But that's the kind of place that you telling me, okay, dude, we get it. Now go do something. Now go live your life. Enjoy it while you can. Okay, go do something. You just so consumed with this, and that's not how God don't want us to live fearful. He don't want us to. No, he said, I come that you have life and life more abundantly. Everything. So
fear is not of God. That kind
of.
No, it is. I mean, there's a difference in praying for your children. Especially when your children have gone far away from their teaching,
Exactly. Like, what happened?
But there is that as a parent, there is that, and I don't know what his children were doing, but there is that when your children, you see them not living a life that will give them a long life.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is that where you're praying and you're asking God, and you are fasting and praying for your children to, Lord, you see what they're doing. But as far as it making you crazy, I don't know that part. Now you're gonna make me go back and research. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I'm saying he was crazy. That's not in the Bible, but I'm saying he's crazy. I mean, when you think about
he
was so consumed that he offered multiple sacrifices daily for his kids. I mean, what else are you doing? That's like, I mean, that's literally, the definition of insanity. You know what I'm saying? Is to keep doing the same thing over and over. So he just kept doing that and doing it and doing it and doing it. And to me, I believe that's why the Lord said, you know what? Let me go ahead and allow this enemy to inflict you, because I need you to focus on you.
On
me. You know what I mean? Because you can't save them. You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
You can't save them. And so when you think about the story of Job and how everybody left him, he had nothing, to the point where it was him and God. Well, he was so consumed about the sins of everybody else. I mean, that's Pastor J for you.
Okay,
like, you know what I'm saying?
We're gonna lift that off. Cash app.
Right.
Rufus Bill. But what is amazing to that is I was talking to the same individual, and I said, he is against anything that is not scaring God's people. He's that kind of minister.
And I don't like that hellfire brimstone,
right?
Preacher.
And I told him, and
you
then
don't scare people to Jesus.
You cannot scare people to Jesus.
Yeah.
I said, what are you doing?
Well,
I'm doing what I was called to do. I said, well, okay, I'm not going to debate that. I said, but you cannot attack other ministries or other philosophies. If someone is over here talking about healing, or someone is talking about prosperity, or someone over here is talking about the family, you can't say that those subjects are worthless and we need to be over here.
Right.
No, that will not work. It will not do. It will not do. Something else we were talking about earlier, Joanne brought it up about with the plants and the bonus checks. That's what they were called, those bonus checks. So when I worked at WQEH Radio, I did not know this prior to working there, but Martha Jean LaQueen was notorious of telling the women when those bonus checks were coming out. And she would get on radio and she's like, ladies, go on down to them plants. The checks are in. Get that money. And I guess
I remember.
You remember that?
Her doing that too.
See, I knew nothing of this.
And they would be so mad.
The men would be furious because the women would be at that plant. And I guess like it is still today, get paid on Friday, broke on Sunday, then gamble, drink, did God knows what in the 2 days. Well, one of the women who listened at one of those times was Dorothy Simpson. And Dorothy Simpson is the mother of Donnie Simpson, who is in the media. He started off here at WJLB with Donnie Simpson and the Love Bug. And and then he went on to do, he had the very first video show. I can't remember what it was called, something. It was on BET, and where they played all the videos of the day. So that's probably a couple of whatever that was. That's when it was. But anyway, Miss Simpson was listening to Martha Jean LaQueen, and so what she did, she went down there and she got that bonus check. And her husband was very upset about it. And he's like, I'm the one that's working, and da 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 da. And she said, well, Queen said we need to get this money. I need to get that money and have something for the family. And he told her, stop listening to that crazy woman. She gonna get you divorced. Well, what Miss Simpson did, she opened up Simpson's Records. Simpson's Records is on 6 Mile and between it's east. I can't think of this, maybe Nevada. And so they opened up this record shop, maybe back in the early 70s, and it was in existence until like 2010. And so what she did, she sold records in the community. She opened the doors for parents, for single mothers who didn't have a place for their kids to work, to go with childcare. She would let them drop them off. That she was doing tutoring in her record shop. Kids would be in there. And it was a candy store in there too. One side was candy store, one side was the music. And so she built that off of that bonus check. And the husband eventually told Martha Jean he was so grateful that she did that because it took them onto a whole different realm. Well, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Miss Simpson made her transition. I think she was 93. But she was a sponsor because of what she heard Queen. She became a sponsor at the station. And she would sponsor Mother's Day and the Wild Wild West, the King of Kings, and she did regular advertising. Whatever we were doing, she was part of that. And I think it is so befitting that it be acknowledged of how she, a Black woman and saw something and went after it, became a great businesswoman. And the only reason why they closed the store was because of streaming. And then she was older as well. So she had probably did, I think at that time was 40 years worth of community service, and she'll be, just a great powerhouse, and just to the family, to Donnie and Lonnie and all of the family members, we send you our love and our prayers during these times. And, if you ever in the area, 6 Mile in Nevada, the store is still there. And I had just said like 2 weeks ago I was going to take a picture of it before they tear it down or sell it. And Miss Simpson wasn't ill or anything. It just happened suddenly. And I said, I'm going to have to take a picture of Simpson's Records because of that. It was a landmark in the city of Detroit.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it's still there now.
The building is still
hopefully
there.
They won't tear it down. Hopefully they'll keep it.
Hopefully they'll keep it. Hopefully they'll keep it.
I hope they keep it.
Hopefully they open a coffee shop or something in there, and
that would be perfect.
Something.
Something.
Right. That would be cool. Perfect because it to do all that work, you just would hate to see nothing.
Yeah.
A memory.
Yeah. And vinyl is back now too.
I know.
I mean, I could just do my mind now. It's like, because there's so many things that they can do with that. Because, oh my goodness, my mind is just running. Wish I had some money.
Hello,
right?
Well, the Powerball.
Right.
Because it could be a coffee shop, there's vinyl. And remember the old, well, not all of them, but a lot of the record shops and stuff, you could go into the booths and listen to the music before, especially with, because I'm a singer. So for a lot of the accompaniment, when you wanted to go get accompaniment music and stuff, you can go into these booths and listen to the tracks and stuff to see if you really liked it, if you really wanted it. And so my mind, I just put it out there and somebody else gonna snatch it. Watch, because I don't have no
They better not. I don't have no money.
Lord bless me. Lord.
They gonna come find you and say thank you. And
thank you. Can I get a royalty check or something?
Right. Something.
Please.
No, but that would be so okay.
So question for y'all.
Yes.
Do y'all have cable?
I don't.
You don't?
Yes.
You do? Okay. I just got rid of cable a couple months ago, and I got YouTube TV, and I would say I love it.
Okay.
it's, you know, they give you all the channels that you really need. You get to DVR and everything. So I know, like, I was kind of afraid of, especially with me and all my sports and stuff. I was like, man, I don't want to, you know, get this stuff, and I can't watch my football games or basketball games. But hey, if you think about switching over to YouTube, if you're just a basic TV type of person, just want your 247, and they give you more than 247. I got Big Ten Network, all the other channels that I need that I was paying, you know, a third more for. Yeah,
money.
It's just like, yeah, it just makes, I can't believe I didn't do it sooner. Like
YouTube, what TV is $59, $50?
Mine is 72. I'm paying 72. So they may have had a lock in at that rate, but yeah, at the point that I got in on it, I'm only paying like $72 a month, and I was paying probably, like I said, like $130, $140 for DirecTV. But it's like all of the extra channels that I had to add to my package to make it be what I wanted it. With YouTube, I get it for free for the same price. Yep, the only thing that YouTube don't have is Bally. So the Pistons come on Bally's. So, you know, you can't get the Pistons game. But Bally's has an app where you could pay you know, a small fee for either monthly, or you can just do it for the basketball season, which I did, just pay the little money for the season. Now I'll have a separate app to watch the Pistons, but everything else I can get on YouTube TV. So if you think about making the switch, make the switch, people. Make the switch.
You're about the third person I know this, because I'd never heard of it before until a few weeks ago. Somebody else was telling me they switched to YouTube TV. Never.
Yeah.
I have YouTube, but I don't have YouTube TV.
Yep. I love it. It's convenient. It's in your pocket. It's anywhere. I could be at the doctor's office, like, let me watch some live TV real quick. You know, it's simple. It's everywhere.
Okay.
Well, speaking about the Pistons, didn't you take your son to his first Pistons game?
I did. It was opening night. Yeah.
Opening night.
It was opening night. Yeah. They actually won too. Pistons are young. They got a young team. You know, they got a good coach. They went and paid Monty Williams. He's literally the highest paid coach in the NBA.
And who was Monty Williams?
Monty Williams is he's a black guy. He's a Pistons head coach. He was the former head coach of the Phoenix Suns, won Coach of the Year. He was let go over there. They brought him here, and for a minute, people were thinking, like, what's going on? Pistons are not hiring the coach, and you know what? But what it was his wife was diagnosed with cancer, and he wanted to be present for his wife, and so he was kind of contemplating, like, well, maybe I won't be good to coach this year. And the Pistons told him, they said, hey, take your time, figure it out, be there. From my understanding and what I've read from the Detroit Free Press, the Pistons owner even offered like his jet and just different resources to aid Monty and his wife doing it, to accommodate them. And then on top of that, they made him the highest paid coach in the NBA, you know, around, I think he got a 5-year, $120 million contract, so a little over 10 million a year to be a coach. Yeah. And so he's the highest paid basketball coach. And one of the videos that really stood out about him was the guy now who's his lead assistant. He was the prior head coach of the Houston Rockets. He had coached the basketball game and he had lost his dad, but for whatever reason he still coached. So after the game, Monty literally goes up to this guy and he hugs him. He hugs him so tight. And because I can read lips, whatever, he was praying for him. And, you know, he was, if you really pay attention, he was praying for him. And he was consoling this grown man on the NBA court in front of thousands of people. And, you know, the coaches broke down and was just crying. And so that was the first take of really seeing Monty Williams' heart. But
in words.
So, yeah, so far, so good. I think the Pistons are doing what the Lions have done. And that's changing the organization by the culture and at the heart of it. And I think that you're going to see just how we have seen the Lions ascend. The Lions are 6-2. We're getting better draft picks. They done been on national TV, I think 3 times this year already. They've won all those games. They're sitting in a good spot to make the playoffs, and not only make the playoffs, but be a number 1 seed, which means that everybody have to come to Ford Field and play. So they got an easy schedule coming up. Like literally, the brunt of their schedule have been passed. The rest of their schedule is like all under 500 teams, meaning that they all have lost more games than they've won under 500. Okay. That means, so the Lions are ascending, and I think the Pistons are going to take a little bit more time, because football is more of a team sport. Like you got to have team, like, you got to, and basketball is you got to have dogs. It's just there's only one LeBron James, there's only one Michael Jordan, there's only one Kobe Bryant. Those are three people that are superstars, best of the best. And it's just like you just don't. Those people are not born every day, so it's going to take a little bit longer for the Pistons. But I think they're in better shape now, seeing that coach transition from our last coach stepping down, going to the front office, getting a new voice in, and everything like that. So Detroit sports are on the rise. Tigers are making moves.
Detroit, come on.
Yeah, right. we're on the rise. Tigers just signed a new outfielder earlier today, so they're in year 2. It seems like it's been 5 or 6 years for us, but they just honestly just put a new president in place to really start the rebuild. So, everything, and Red Wings are winning. The Red Wings have been winning lately.
They're notorious.
Yes. They've been winning lately, and they're back, fun to watch. So it's a great time, to be a Detroit sports person. And you can't go anywhere in the country. You can't go anywhere in the United States and see all 4 major sports right in the downtown area. Like Detroit.
I know, isn't that phenomenal?
Red Wings,
that's right.
Tigers, and Lions all play in downtown, and less than a mile away from each other.
I'm telling you, I love it. Come on, that's Detroit. Our teams, they got to do something. We got to do.
Yes, win. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and talking about. He was going to get tickets to the Lions. I said, now, I don't know unless you are a genie, but the games have been sold out for the Lions. So maybe he knows something that I don't know.
So when they say sold out, that just means that, because we live in a digital world now,
right?
So you have the season ticket holders that buy tickets, you have this, and then you have these third-party companies like Game Time, StubHub, Ticketmaster. They come by. So once Ford Field has sold all of their tickets, it is sold out. But you still can get tickets from StubHub or something like that. It's just now you're gonna be paying. That one ticket, right? You're paying the fee on it. That ticket would have been $70, but now that $70 ticket comes with a $50 StubHub fee, and so it's more money. So yeah, like and I'm gonna tell you something about the Lions tickets. Last 2 years ago for Thanksgiving, me and my wife went to see the Lions play, and I paid about on Thanksgiving, good seats. I paid about $150 per ticket for Thanksgiving.
Not bad.
Right, 2 years ago. Can I tell you that my standing room ticket for Monday Night Football was $150? Not even the actual seat. I didn't have a seat. I had a standing room. So that just go to show you, and that's not even just because it was Monday night. Even if you go look now, and standing room tickets used to be $50. You get in the game. If the Lions had a sold out game, $50. I got a seat on the main level for $150, and I just paid $150 for a standing room. Upstairs.
Well, I have a friend that has season tickets, and he was going to sell his season tickets because he was, and now.
Yeah.
But if he wanted to sell them now, he took the price that he would get for them now compared to what he bought them for.
Right, it's like, crazy.
And now his wife is like, we're not selling these tickets because now
she's
excited too.
Right, we go into the game.
So
I have
he's like, nope, I think I'm changing my mind.
one of my church members, they go to my young lady goes to my church. She has season tickets. She's a diehard fan, and she was selling her Thanksgiving tickets, and she actually put it on Facebook and was like, "Hey y'all, I'm selling my tickets." She was like, "Before y'all ask me how much, let me show y'all the section I'm sitting in and what the price is on StubHub." And those same tickets that I think her tickets probably around per game about $90 each, whatever. Those seats, whatever you buy the package, 90 times how many games times 2. You know, those tickets in itself were going for like for 2 seats about $800, around $400 per ticket.
I believe it.
For Thanksgiving. So it's crazy. Like it's crazy. But I say all the time, the best seat is at your house. You got your bathroom right there. Because you don't like literally, guys, I paid $65 to park. $65 to park. I mean, it's just, and then it's like it's one thing to be in that atmosphere, but just once a year, that's all I need. I get my one little fix. Now they go to the playoffs, that might be something different. I have to go again. But literally, I try to go to the opener. I'll go to more than one Pistons game because the Pistons games are a little bit more easier to operate. It's just cold. That's just the thing with the Pistons. Right. It's just dead cold. But with the Lions, I go once a year. In Michigan, I go twice a year before it get cold, and then I'm done. Like, you know, yeah.
You know, my parents tried to get me to buy a parking lot. Let me take that back. My parents were going to buy a parking lot for me downtown. And I looked at them like they had said just the worst thing in the world.
I know you wish.
It was right when I started working at the station. And my parents said, well, why do you pay for parking? Why don't we buy the parking lot and then you can have some revenue coming in? And my crazy self was thinking, I'm not quitting my job to run a parking lot. And the man sold the parking lot. It was like maybe 20,000, 25, because nothing was going on in the city at the time. So everything was just grabbed. Maybe in 2 years, the person that bought the parking lot sold the parking lot so that they could put a structure on it.
One of my clients, her husband bought a parking lot, and she was telling me this was probably 30 years ago or so. And she bought a lot, not a parking lot. Then it was just a lot on Woodward, close to downtown. She fussed, and she said, I fussed and fussed and fussed. She said, now I just keep my mouth shut.
She said, and just shop and shop and shop.
It's literally a parking lot now, but just think.
Just think.
Yeah.
She said, I don't say nothing no more. I don't fuss about that parking lot. I don't fuss. She's like, she had me cracking up. You had to hear her talk about it.
And the owner of that lot, he kept saying, he said, they're going to be charging like $50, $60 downtown. He said, you know, I'm going back to wherever he was from. And he's like, I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. And he was right. Right. Well, before we go, Justin.
Yes.
Joanne had a birthday.
That's right. You did have a birthday. And I wrote on there happy birthday.
I ain't the only one that had a birthday.
You had a birthday too.
Yes. But Joanne had the latest birthday. Joanne, how was your birthday? What'd you do?
My birthday was 2 weeks ago.
Right. Two Sundays ago.
Yes.
Did you do anything?
I did. I had a good weekend. I did. I went, that Thursday I went to go see the reunion concert.
Did you?
Yeah, I heard that.
Off the chain.
We gotta talk about that next week.
I was like, I was right at the stage. Yes, I was like right at the stage. It was 4 hours long. But it didn't feel like it. And it was packed. When I say jam packed, and it was off the chain. They put on a show, or it was more of a praise service for real. It was so good. Oh, it was so good. So that was Thursday. Okay. And then Saturday, went to the show with my husband. And then Sunday, my girlfriend took me to go see Dance Theater of Harlem.
No.
Yes. Well, you know, because we were shocked because they usually come in the spring. It's usually March is Dance Theater of Harlem, and then April, usually like 4 weeks after, is Alvin Ailey Dancers. And so we were shocked. We was like, what are they doing here in October? So we were shocked. So they on my birthday, so we went. She took me there, and then went out to dinner again with my husband. But I had a good birthday. A good birthday.
Well, that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. And happy birthday to you too, Rufus.
Oh, well, thank you.
Right. What did you do? Right. What did you do for your birthday?
Me? I went to see Barry Manilow.
Okay.
Hey, I like Barry Manilow.
I love Barry Manilow. I've always liked him.
Music is timeless.
Yes. And I was able, I built a lot of my my wedding gigs off of his music catalog. First of all, because people couldn't believe it was a black guy singing Barry Manilow. And that was my niche. And for maybe 3 or 4 summers straight, every weekend, because usually when you do a wedding, somebody is at the wedding that's about to get married. And
can you come to my wedding?
Right. They're like, oh my God, I never heard that sung like that. I know. You got sign right here.
It's outside right here. Right.
But yeah, I would see Barry Manilow, and then I went out to this very, very exclusive Italian restaurant in Troy, and that was very nice. The food was excellent, and I think that was about it.
Okay,
but that was enough. That was I'm very glad to see it and be able to experience it, and all of that. And everybody wanted to know, well, how old did you turn? How old are you? How old are you? And it's not that I keep it a secret. It's just not something I discuss. And so I said, I'm as old as my tongue and a little older than my teeth.
Oh my goodness. I have to remember that one.
That's a good one. Next time somebody asks you that,
I have to remember that one.
I'm as old as my tongue. and a little older than my teeth.
That's a good one.
That's a good one for sure.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I think we're off to a great season. I know we are. And I did get a text from our guest, Alexandria Froze, and we'll reschedule her sometime in the year. And I'm just so glad we're back together.
Yes.
Glad to be back.
Definitely. Well, everybody have a great week. Do what you do best and keep on doing it.
Yes,
sir.
You too. Peace.
All right.
You as well.
Peace.